So I wrote down some questions. First being creative burnout. I want to talk about burnout. So my first question is like, what is causing, if you're struggling with creative burnout, like what is inside of you? Okay. And I'm gonna do this cool thing and I'm gonna pull one card. I'm just gonna see what happens in this type of reading. 10 of Swords reversed. Oh, this card literally feels like burnout. It's overthinking for sure. It's like when is the forest ambiance too loud? Okay. It's kind of like when you're so overthinking that you feel bland. Does anyone else feel this way? This is totally how it happens to me, is like it's this feeling of like bland numbness, of almost trying too hard, trying to think that you can think your way into a creative idea, when all of creativity really comes from like passion, like heart sort of space, and not the head. Like I would honestly say that I try and shut off my brain when I want to create. Like for example, writing a song, you know, I've definitely gotten into some sticky situations where I really like a song and I kind of want to make it, and then like I want to make another version of it, and it just feels like it's kind of inauthentic because I'm not trying to copy someone, but I'm like, I want to make a song this good and I'm trying to compare it. And with the 10 of Swords reversed, it's kind of like you need to let those thoughts just like run amok until they're gone. But with the 10 of Swords reversed, it's almost like you're trying to like hold on to the last thought, thinking that, oh, maybe this one idea or like maybe this one extra thing is going to help me push me over the edge. But it's like, no, you just need to let these, you need to let your brain almost like exert itself like crazy and have all these crazy thoughts that I'm like picturing it so well, where it's like these thoughts feel empty, like no one would relate to them and don't feel like they're full of heart or anything. So I kind of feel like it's saying to let the thoughts just go, or that's what my advice if I got this card would be, just let them run through you and let them go until they're all gone and you can start fresh. I would say try and get out of your mind and get into your body. So literally maybe go on a walk outside or go sit outside. This happens to me, like it doesn't immediately transform the way I'm thinking, but I'll feel like once I get home, I feel like I'm in a different headspace. It's kind of like mysterious how it works, but like you're not gonna think your way through it. So I mean, being in a creative rut sucks. It's terrible. So the next question is, what energy can we use to unstuck us? How do we unstuck us? Unstick us? I don't know. So we've got the Page of Wands. It came out reversed. I mean, it's kind of like being curious. It's like, it's more about approaching things from not like the master point of view. You'd be approaching something from a sort of childlike mind. If you hate what you're making, for example, like you're making something and you're like, I hate it, you could be like, well, why do I hate it? I'm kind of curious why I think this is bad. Like maybe it's so hard with tarot because I feel like I understand the emotional, like, but it's like translating into words for to explain what I'm thinking is like the challenge I'm working on right now. But yeah, he's kind of like looking at his stick. He's looking at his wand, and wands are passion and they're fire, and it's kind of like looking at it and being curious about it instead of being like, I need to make a final product. It's more like curious about how would I go about this, and like what don't I like about what I'm already making, and sort of see what comes from there. I'm still in that like young state, maybe still very in the unfinished state. This is all about ways to like spark a tiny bit of inspiration, and I feel like having a more young sort of curious mind about it it's pretty obvious advice, but I think sometimes we put too much pressure on like finishing something, and it's more about being like, you know, let me look at this from that sort of like mindset that's not trying to accomplish something. And you'd be surprised, I think, whenever I do this, I'm quite surprised at how things flow easier. I said, what can be a new source of inspiration right now? What can be a new source of inspiration? Everything's coming up reversed. I don't know what's going on with me, but 9 of Wands is also reversed. I think this is all about letting your guard down, because I think it's kind of saying that a source of inspiration could be like creating from a space where you're not putting any pressure on what others might think about you. Maybe there's like a creative block because of how much you've already done and what maybe you think others expect of you, and like putting pressure that everything has to be better than what you've already done or up to the same level. But it's kind of saying like, what if you make something and say, I'm never gonna show this to anyone, but I just need to make something? Because you might surprise yourself and actually make something that you later would be like, no, I want to show this to someone, this is good. But taking the pressure off is like, let me just write a short story and for just myself, and like put it in a time like even just, I do this sometimes with music, and I'm like, let me just make something and I'll just save it, and maybe like a couple years from now I'll go find it and I'll fix it. It's just kind of creating from this space where like you take the walls down, like there's no one judging you, there's no need to perform or make something perfect for someone else, because I think that's often the reason we're stuck, is just this huge burden to make something so good that you're proud of. Especially if you're hard on yourself, it's like the pressure of not making something good, it's like scary to be thinking, well, if it's bad, I'm just gonna be hard on myself. So it's just about dance like nobody's watching. Put a little song on your room, dance like no one's watching. Also sometimes when I'm feeling really emotionally stuck, or like creatively stuck, I feel so bland. I feel like nothing about me is interesting. I feel so uninteresting and boring. So sometimes I'll just imagine that there's like a little fire burning inside me that's kind of wet and damp, and it's like kind of smoky. And then I kind of like fuel it up and I put some new logs on the fire, and it starts like burning really bright and hot. And it honestly makes me feel just better, just imagining that. And then, oh, everything's reversed. We are talking about blocks, so I guess that does make sense. But again, Temperance reversed. Yes, I think it's like a balance between, well, we're gonna make some things that are gonna be really good, but we're also gonna make some things that aren't very good. And that's sort of the process of learning. That's the process of making things that are better. You kind of sometimes have to take a couple steps back to take a couple steps forward. Like, not everything's gonna be a banger. I mean, it could be, but I think that you have to remember that there's a balance between making good things and making things you don't really like. Like, it kind of fuels you, keeps you like, if I don't know, like, it's kind of the pursuit of making something that you really love that's so exciting. At least for me, when I start to make something that I really love, it really makes me excited. And I think that like that excitement wouldn't be as strong if every time I made something it was always good. It's like the reward, you know, you need to see the bad to see the good, you know? So then the last question was sort of about understanding creativity and like being like, okay, if creativity was a person and they're a person, like what would they want to tell us right now that maybe we don't know? What's something that maybe creativity would want to tell us that we don't know? Like, obviously it's like, I'm saying a lot of obvious stuff right now, but let's go. Hello, creativity, nice to meet you. Okay, all the way over here. 6 of Swords. I'm going to take a second with this one because it's sort of something that like I wouldn't expect, so I really want to tap in. I'm going to pull a word too. Okay, the word is deserve. So it's interesting because the 6 of Swords is all about a journey, sort of from like a more of a troubled place to a place that is more calm, but you can see that there's sort of like a somber air to this card, and it's sort of about like moving on and going from one place that's a little bit rockier to another, and then the word being deserve. This might sound like kind of harsh, but I don't mean it that way because I'm talking to myself too. But I think something that might be blocking creativity is the feeling that we should always be making something we're proud of and making something that's good, when I feel like it's telling us that there is quite a journey and like an emotional journey that goes along with being creative and making things. And sometimes an air of gratitude might be more beneficial. Like, I almost imagine being like someone being frustrated because they can't make anything good. They're so down on themselves and being like, oh, like I can't make anything good right now, this sucks, like I feel so shitty about myself. But then creativity's here being like, hey, like you, like I'm not just gonna show up all the time and just grant you all the little gifts. Like sometimes you need to work for me, like sometimes you need to deserve me, which sounds like it. Sometimes you need to humble yourself a little bit and be like, you know what, I'm not like a great master or whatever. Like even like great artists have bad days. Like the best artists like write terrible songs or like write bad stories. But when we sort of have this idea that we should always be making something so good and the creativity should just be coming through us so easily, it's kind of saying like, hey, you know, like pick yourself up, be grateful that you have these skills and these passions, and like be grateful when it comes to you. And when it doesn't come to you, take that time to think about like, oh, you know, how like grateful you were for the times that you did make something amazing, and how maybe expressing more gratitude towards creativity and being like, thank you for coming to me, thank you for inspiring me. It's kind of a little bit like maybe when we're on have a creative block, we're a little bit on our high horse, like we feel like we deserve to have an idea or we deserve to make something really good. And it's just about being like, when it comes to me, I'm so grateful. And whenever I make whenever, like I'll be like, when I make a good song, like thank you creativity, thank you for coming to me, thank you for inspiring me. If another day comes and I don't have something else, maybe you're taking the day off. Maybe it's not all about me. Anyway, I think that's kind of a good message. And I'm kind of inspired by that, and I feel like I'm gonna remember that. I'm gonna pull an oracle card from my friend's oracle deck, Lips. She's a tarot reader on YouTube, you guys, and we became friends, and I'm so grateful. And she made the cutest deck ever. So, Lips Oracle. Let's just see a little story about creativity. Do it again. I feel like this is gonna be good. I've never seen this card before, but I just feel like the message already, it's like, do it again. It's like, don't give up. Do it again. Round and round, looping, repetition as revelation and victimhood. So this card is all about going like round and round, like looping, and she's saying it's not a failure, it's refinement. This card honors the dizzy spaces. It's not to mock or test you, but to remind you that once something is truly seen, it begins to change. Some lessons echo until we hum them in our sleep. The question, why am I here again? What new note can I add this time around? When we resist the lesson, the loop can start to feel like a trap, a self-fulfilling prophecy, replaying old fears through new faces. Victimhood often disguises itself as safety. The mind repeats a story it knows because it's fear what's beyond it. This invitation is to take informed responsibility for your healing. When you integrate this lesson, you end its need for repetition. The moment you shift from why is this happening to me to what pattern am I ready to complete, the cycle loosens its grip. Awareness is what breaks the spin. I learn faster when I stop judging the repetition. Each repeat shows me what still needs attention. So the do it again, I really feel like it's about, especially when she's talking about like awareness is what breaks the like spell. I think like creative blocks can be this kind of negative loop where you're like, oh, I want to make something good, and then you are like, but what if I don't? And then you don't, and you just like feel shitty about yourself. But it was kind of this like thing where I was saying how like just being humbling ourselves and being a little kinder to ourselves, but also being just grateful that we have it in the first place. And I feel like once we realize that it's something that comes and goes naturally, and to not rush the process, like there can be like much more ease. And I think it honestly would help to like make the blocks happen less often. And honestly, because I think once you understand that creativity is something that sort of like comes at a natural pace, you're not going to force yourself to do anything when you don't feel inspired. And when you don't feel like, if you only create when you feel inspired, I think it's just going to reinforce the feeling like, okay, I'm feeling inspiration today. I think creative blocks kind of show up when you don't feel inspired and you're trying to go way more with your head than like with the passion feeling in your heart. I don't know if that makes sense, but I really like this reading. I feel like it makes a lot of sense to me. And I sort of feel like I have entered this space of being more in flow with when things feel good to make and when things don't, and just stopping when I'm like, today it's not working out. So anyway, that's my little creativity story. I hope you liked it. I hope it helps if anyone's having creative blocks. And I'll be back to do a reading on manifestation soon.